What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Rudy Rodriguez Showmont right now, right here. This is Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I am watching the CFP live, and my reactions to this thing are going to be live as they drop. So we'll see what happens. As you know, Miami Hurricanes beat NC State 41-7 this past weekend. They jumped over Georgia Tech in the AP poll. Alabama lost to Oklahoma. Um, or who else? Georgia beat the brakes off Texas. Texas A&M survived against South Carolina, and that's pretty much it. I mean, BYU won. Who else won? Utah won. Did Notre Dame play? Yeah, Notre Dame beat the hell out of Pittsburgh. So a lot of stuff popped off this weekend, and we're about to find out about everything, and we will be bringing the reaction to you live as it drops. So be sure to check out this entire video because we're taking it from beginning to end as we are here. So we are back, and the guys on the desk are talking, running their mouths, doing their thing, yakety yakety, making this be a 20-minute show. The game that they had on TV, Kentucky and Michigan State, or whoever the hell just played, ran a little bit late. Thankfully, we won't have to have 30 minutes of this nonsense. It'll take 30 minutes to announce these damn teams. They're yakety yakketing right now. So, but yeah, we all know the deal. We all know the drill right now. We all know the deal. Right now, we are not at a point where the Hurricanes will probably not be amongst the top 10, top 12 teams because of how they started it off and ignored the fact that the Hurricanes do have a win over Notre Dame, which somehow doesn't matter. And even though that Alabama lost to Florida State, I'd love to see if the committee has the balls to drop Alabama below Miami because we do have a similar opponent. And but let's refresh you of the format, which you all know, 12 participating teams. I'm just reading what they got right now. I'm watching it on my phone. 5 highest ranked conference champions, next 7 highest ranked teams. 4 highest ranked teams will be seeded number 1 to 4 and receive first round byes. 8 teams seeded from 5 to 12 will play in first round with higher seeds hosting home games. You all already knew this. You're not dumb. But I'm going to read it because I'm dragging the time along just like they are because they seem like they have to explain it on a week-to-week basis. We are here, and here they're announcing it in reverse. 25th is Arizona State. 24th is Tulane. 23rd is Houston. 22nd is Missouri. 21st is Illinois. Last week, none of those teams were ranked. So it's a brand new bottom 5. Brand new bottom 5. Number 20, Tennessee. Virginia, 19. Michigan is 18. Texas is 17. Georgia Tech is 16. So did they dropped another spot? Georgia Tech got dropped more. Yeah, it doesn't really matter because if Georgia Tech goes to the ACC championship game, they're in the driver's seat. They're still. You got Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech likely going to the ACC championship unless something happens this weekend. We could. And they're building up Texas right now. They are building up Texas right now. This is fucking crazy. They are trying to build up this SEC bullshit, bro. It's so tiring. 15. Number 15, USC, up 2 spots. I said Miami should be ranked at least 13th, right? I think I said that 13th. At least 13th. Because we were 15th last week. I say we're going to be at least 13th. Let's see if that happens. USC jumped Georgia Tech, just so you know. They jumped 2 spots. Number 14 is Vanderbilt. The Hurricanes have jumped Vanderbilt. Let's fucking go. Let's go. That's big. That's big, 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 big people. That is huge. Huge. We jumped these guys. See, we're at 13 or 12. Miami's at 13. So Miami went up 2 spots. Inching closer, as they're saying. One more hurdle. You got past Vandy, so you're not going to drop past Vandy. It's being made apparent right now. So clearly, Alabama ain't there yet, but we are moving up the rankings. You got two more tests to pass and pass with flying colors. Yeah, they throw us in there now because we're the highest ranked ACC team. Doesn't matter. Yeah, we all know it's a long shot to get in the conference. That Vandy switching over Vandy. So Utah is 12. I still don't understand that. They jumped up one spot. So we went from 15 to 13, and Vanderbilt stayed at 14. They didn't move. BYU's number 11. They jumped up one spot. Let's see where they put Alabama. Bama should be 10. Or do they move Notre Dame down to 10 and put Bama at 9? Let's see what happens. Utah being ranked ahead of is ridiculous, bro. It's fucking ridiculous. And when BYU loses to Texas Tech, they'll be out the picture too. Alabama number 10 dropped 6 spots to number 10. Again, we're gonna have this conversation at the end, bro. I hope Auburn just beats these motherfuckers bluntly, but there's gonna have to be a real conversation about Bama if they have a close game against Auburn in the Iron Bowl. They play a podunk next week, but they're gonna have that real conversation about common opponents and losing by 14 to Florida State to start the season and really get dog walked in that game. At number 9, we've got at number 9. Notre Dame is at number 9. They have stayed the same. They have not moved, which means Oklahoma jumped over Notre Dame. See, again, like I said, we need really Alabama beating Oklahoma would have been very, very helpful because we would be ranked no worse than 12th right now because Oklahoma would be out the picture. But yeah, so here we are. Notre Dame is number 9, and that would have us closer to Notre Dame. But, it is what it is. All you can do is control what you can control the controllables. And I do believe BYU and the other one will be out of the way. But the problem that happens now is that does the ACC champion trump us and get us out of there? I mean, that's the question. Oklahoma is number 8. So, yeah, I mean, again, BYU and I think Utah both end up out of the picture. Texas Tech will beat Utah. I mean, beat BYU. Texas Tech's going to beat whoever they play in the conference championship. We need them to. We need that team to win the rest of their games. That is a necessity. You cannot have a second seeded Big 12 team win the conference championship because will they drop Texas Tech out of it? Don't know. Don't think so. I don't think so. Oregon's number 7, which is the most overranked fucking team there is. They're so overranked. It's crazy. To think that we're the 6th ranked 8-2 team, that is absurd. Because if you actually do all of these situations, Bama lost to Florida State, Miami beat Florida State, Oklahoma beat Bama, Miami beat Notre Dame, and yet Miami's ranked the worst of them all. It's so ridiculous. Ole Miss is number 6. Like, this is the most preposterous. It's actually gnawing and aggravating, but I'm telling you right now, Miami has to go into Blacksburg this weekend and beat the doors off of Virginia Tech. If they don't blow the door off the building, they're going to give the committee an excuse to keep them where they are. They got to blow the door off of them. They got to do the same thing at Pittsburgh. Number 5 is Texas Tech. They got to blow the doors off these dudes. I mean, I'm telling you right now, they have to do that. They need to play that game the way they played NC State, bro. Seriously, they got to play the way they played NC State. Number 4 will be probably, I guess, Georgia or don't even know. No, whoever the 4, I forgot whoever the 4 would be. Georgia, number 4. Number 3 would be, I don't even remember, man. Texas A&M. It'd be Texas A&M, Indiana, Ohio State, as expected. All right, so we know what it is. It's as expected. So, end of the day, Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Texas A&M 3, Georgia 4, Texas Tech 5, Ole Miss 6, Oregon 7, Oklahoma 8, Notre Dame 9, Alabama 10, BYU 11, Utah 12, Miami 13. I'm telling you right now it has Tulane going as a 12 seed to play Texas Tech. This whole thing with the group of 5 thing, bro, it's ridiculous. They don't even like if they're not ranked in the top 12, throwing these that large, it is a stupid format. You should go to 16 teams. It should have always been 16 teams. The whole purpose of a bye is dumb. It should have always been 16. You're going to go to a 12 team, go to a 16. Just make it simple. Therefore, we're not having this fucking headache right now. Because the whole thing is dumb the whole thing is really dumb in my opinion. Like the current projection is bogus because it's not real. And last year, remember, we had the advantage of Boise State being a top 8 team. So they were already in. So it didn't really matter. This year, the number 12 team will be a team that's not in the playoffs, which means that Miami has got to get to at least number 10. They've got to get to number 10 so they can be the 10 seed. Because what's going to end up happening is that you're going to have a 12 seed coming from a group of 5, and more than likely an ACC champion. If Miami doesn't somehow sneak its way in there, an ACC champion that's either Georgia Tech or Virginia, more than likely, if that's what ends up playing out. And they would be the 11. So Miami has got to leapfrog these people and get to number 10. And it's all possible. It's absolutely possible. It is possible as can be because Miami's going to get to at least 11 with BYU and Utah losing. Utah will not get in there not being a Big 12 conference champ. No way in the world. No way in the world will they get there. No way in the world. They're talking about Miami right now. All right. This guy just All right, so they interviewed this guy, and I'm gonna go over what he said. He said right now that the Miami Hurricanes are not even in the same data point section with Notre Dame right now. So they're ranking these guys in groups. Makes no sense, right? Makes no sense. So they're not even comparing Miami's win over Notre Dame to Notre Dame because they're not even being evaluated in the same group of teams because Notre Dame lost to 2 better teams than Miami lost to, but Notre Dame's loss was to Miami. I mean, you cannot make this shit up. This is embarrassing. But he then did say, as Miami creeps up, now we have to truly look at the head-to-head, and it will be significant. That was the word he used, significant. It would have a significant standing because if Notre Dame is ranked number 9 and Miami's ranked number 10 or 11, now you have to consider the Miami Notre Dame game. Now that's why I said during this thing, you got to ignore this right now because as long as Miami's ranked 16th, it doesn't matter. But when they get closer and they're in that same little section of teams that they're evaluating, well, now it's a real conversation because now you really have to take a look at the game against each other. Miami did lose by 3 and by 6 against good teams, not great teams, not bad teams. Notre Dame lost at home to Texas A&M. Miami beat Notre Dame to start the season. Again, we largely dominated for, we largely dominated for 3 quarters. Let them back in it, but dominated. That's why those results matter. And that's why I say never take your foot off the gas. Because if Miami had won that game 34-17, we're not even having this conversation right now. Miami's probably ranked ahead of Notre Dame. But we let it get close. We needed a last-second field goal to get the job done. Now, again, he did say it's significant in nature when we're comparing them head-to-head, but we're not even comparing them head-to-head right now because we're not evaluating amongst each other. They're basically evaluating Miami with Bama, with Utah, with BYU, Vanderbilt, and USC, and Georgia Tech. That's who they're evaluating us against. Now, how the hell you evaluate us against Utah and have Utah ahead of us, I find ridiculous. Like, you can't look at their schedule and look at our schedule and say Utah's better. That's fucking diabolical. It's crazy. Not to mention, BYU got mud stomped. And look, Texas Tech needs to do us a damn favor and beat their ass again if they play them in the conference championship. That is what will get Miami in that comparable state when you're comparing us to Notre Dame. So it's not all lost. ACC championship, sure. At this point, yeah, we probably want to find a way to get in that bitch. We probably do. And then deal with the freaking consequence of playing in an ACC championship game. I still believe if Miami wins out, Miami will make the playoffs. I still believe it because I believe that you're not going to have a Utah team in the top 10 that doesn't play in its conference championship game. You're not going to look at that resume and look at Utah the rest of the season and sit here and say, oh, let's see here. Utah, who has whatever left on their schedule is Kansas State and Kansas. Kansas State is 5-5. Kansas is 5-5. Like, you're not going to get brownie points for beating those two teams. The same way we're not going to get brownie points for beating Virginia Tech, but we're going to a place that's always tough to play on the road. You got to beat the door off their ass. You have to leave no doubt. You have to make it an absolute freaking thrashing. Leave no doubt. You have to whip them. 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 It's very simple. BYU is still sitting here with a game this weekend versus Cincinnati. Yo, if Cincinnati does us the favor and beats them this weekend, which is entirely possible, this game is at Cincinnati, 8 o'clock on Fox. Make sure you watch it. And they still got to play UCF in their final. So they have 2 conference games left as well. But I do think Cincinnati has a legitimate chance to beat BYU at home. They do. And they're 5-2. And if BYU loses, the only way BYU could get in would be if they're able to make it to the conference championship. I don't know if they would because there'd be 5-2 teams, but that ranking for BYU would drop to probably the bottom half of the top 20. So that would I don't know if that's the eliminating factor in this, but. And then you have Utah. Utah's 5-2. They still got Utah could very well find themselves in the conference championship, but that's when you need Texas Tech to handle business as well. And they've already trounced Utah once by 24 points. You get rid of those 2 teams. And look, hey, Auburn, do us a favor. As long as Miami's ranked number 10, if Miami's ranked 10th, it's 11 and 12, which are the dangerous spots. Those are the spots that are going to get themselves ousted if Miami doesn't make the ACC championship. 11 and 12 will be on the outside looking in. So what you need to do is you got to get to number 10. If you get to number 10, you are in, and there are routes to get there. And the first route for Miami is win your games and win them with style, fashion, and destructiveness. Play like you played against NC State and it will all fall into place. That is my belief. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Once again, Miami Hurricanes are ranked number 13 in this week's CFP. Moving on up 2 spots. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts. I appreciate y'all. This is Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on now.